top staking coins with the most potential in 2021.
Let's get into it.
So today, guys, we're going to be taking a look at 5 crypto projects that have huge potential when it comes to staking. We're going to talk about each one of these, where you can potentially stake them, and how much of those kind of juicy returns you could be looking to get whilst staking these particular projects. As we get into this, guys, if you do find it useful and informative, hit that like button. We both really do appreciate it. And of course, if you happen to be new to the channel and you'd like to stay up to date with those new crypto projects and those hidden gems, then why not consider subscribing to the channel? By becoming a subscriber, you'll be kept up to date with everything we do here. It is free, you'll stay well informed, so why not? And Chris, is there anything else that you would like to add before we jump on down to the desktop and start getting into each of these fantastic projects?
Yeah, let us know if there's any that we've missed that you think should have been in our top 5. Really interested to see.
Absolutely right. Let's jump on down and get right on into it.
Let's do it.
So the first one, Chris, that absolutely doesn't really need that much of an introduction has to be Elrond, right?
Oh, for sure, Nick. And yeah, this one, for me, it's so simple to stake. I mean, you can just stake by holding it on Coinbase. I mean, it doesn't get much simpler than that, right?
This one is fantastic, and the percentage gains that you can get does vary depending on where you go to potentially stake your algo. So if we take a look at Binance, for example, what are they offering at the moment? 1%?
1%, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely awful. And obviously, of course, if you were to look at Coinbase, you're getting 6%. And you don't actually have to do anything special when it comes to Coinbase. It's just kind of automatically there, and it's going to get a compounding effect for you. But of course, there are many other places that you could also look to get some pretty juicy returns when it comes to algo. You could hold this, Chris, in the Atomic wallet, for example, and you'll also get pretty juicy returns there. So it's one of those things that is worth doing some research on to find where you're going to get the maximum return for your investment, but definitely want to be paying attention to Elrond from a staking perspective. It has huge potential, not both in terms of the project itself and what they're trying to do, but also the fact that you're able to earn a pretty good passive income on your algo holdings. So it's something that we think you should be definitely paying attention to in this space. But Chris, is there anything else you want to add to algo before we kind of move on to the second project?
Yeah, I think Algo is going to do really, really well 2021, and this is why it sort of made it onto the list, right? I think it's going to do really well as a project, and staking it is, in my opinion, a must, just like it is with every project that has that enabled, because you're making your crypto work for you, right? It's like you worked hard for the crypto in order to buy it. Let's make it work for you.
Absolutely. And, this is a growing ecosystem. It's doing really well. It's kind of challenging Ethereum along with Cardano and Polkadot. So when it comes to, kind of being in that top end of, third generation blockchains, you kind of have 3 projects, and it's Elrond, you've got Cardano, you've got Polkadot. All 3 of those are doing similar things, also slightly differently, and different approaches to it. But ultimately, the 3 projects there are kind of circling around Ethereum and everything going on there. So when you're holding algo, and I think most people, I say most, but I think a lot of people are holding algo, as a fantastic project that it is, you might as well make it work for you, and you can get a pretty good income just by staking it. But do some research on, the best places to earn a maximum return, but sometimes that's not for you. And if you're just looking to hold it somewhere that's easily accessible, then you've got Coinbase, you've got Binance, etc., and Atomic wallets and things like that. Just make sure you do the correct research. But no more on Elrond, Chris. Let's get into that second project, because this one probably also needs no introduction, and that has to be Elrond, right, Chris?
Oh yeah, and again, it's become easier to stake Elrond than it was, a few months back.
Absolutely. So with the launch of the 𝗕𝗖𝗔𝗡𝗃 app, you're now able to basically stake it directly from the mobile app itself, which basically means It's actually very, very easy and it's at your fingertips 24/7 because you'll have that mobile app attached to your mobile phone via your mobile phone number. There's no keys or anything like that or passphrases that you need to remember or write down and save anywhere. It's actually quite accessible and pretty easy to use. And staking eGold, it can be pretty lucrative. I know we've seen some pretty volatile percentages, Chris, but what is it currently? Do you know?
I'm not too sure what it is off the top of my head, Nick, but I remember it being pretty juicy.
I think it was around 19 at one point, and it might be hovering around that 10 to 19 now. So there are some pretty good returns here, but obviously as you choose a staking pool, each will have their own varying kind of rewards. So you'll have to pay attention to how much eGold is actually delegated to a pool, and obviously the commission rates that the validator will actually be charging. But when it comes to Elrond and eGold, this is a pretty fantastic project with 31 million maximum supply. So it's kind of challenging, I guess, Bitcoin in the approach that actually it has that scarcity to it. There's a 10 million specifically and dedicated to providing validator rewards, and obviously all that staking element with that 21 being the circulating supply kind of scenario. Now, the supply is quite low at the moment, and this has huge potential to grow in the future. And this is like, as you keep saying, Chris, it's like Bitcoin given a use case, right? Because ultimately this thing and the tech that's behind Elrond is absolutely fantastic. So you'll naturally be gravitating towards this project as an investment option. And I think that's something that we're going to start seeing some of those institutions doing in the future. Ultimately, this thing has huge potential in terms of the technology behind it and how it is integrating into so many people's lives. And we've seen loads of articles. I'm not going to go into all the various pieces of news around eGold and Elrond in this particular video, but we are going to talk about, that you're more than likely going to come across this project and you have a high possibility that you'll actually end up investing in eGold. And when you do that, you're going to want to return on that investment, right? And ultimately, the Maya app is going to be a fantastic way to stake your eGold and earn that passive income. Now, there is a period, Chris, isn't there, where you actually have to, before you withdraw the eGold, is it 7 days?
Something along those lines, yeah. But I'm actually receiving 16.26% APR on my investment there, staking with Elrond. So it's a great passive income. It's right up there, on terms of rewards for such a fantastic project. I think it's immense.
Absolutely. So let's get on, Chris, into that third project. And this is a pretty big one as well. And that has to be Zilliqa, right?
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't that long ago. We had Amrit on the show for an interview, and yeah, it's a fantastic project. Really do like this one. Expect it to do really well, and I mean, we're already starting to see that, right?
We are, yeah. So the price of Zil is moving up quite nicely here. And again, this is a particular kind of project that you'll be gravitating towards if you're kind of interested in smart contracts, sharding, and that kind of third generation blockchain tech. And ultimately, when it comes to the potential of Zilliqa, it is absolutely huge. And we're starting to see more and more volume kind of push through on Zilliqa, and specifically with Zil Swap and things like that in the background that really are fantastic at moving things further forward here. Now, when it comes to staking a Zil, you have some pretty good returns. I think this has been declining down over time as more and more people have been delegating in. But at one point, we saw highs, Chris, of well over 20% APY. Do you know what it is right now?
I think it's around 14%. I'm just going to check at the moment, Nick.
So there are some fantastic potential here for Zilliqa, and just by delegating that and staking it, you're going to be getting a pretty good return. And Chris will find out what that current rate is. It will vary depending on where you decide to stake. But ultimately, different platforms will have different locking up periods. I think for the most part, Zilliqa is about 14 days. But if you can go into longer term periods, like Binance usually has like 30-day, 60-day scenarios sometimes. So do have to be mindful of the period and time in which you're actually staking for or getting a lockup period. But for the most part, this one tends to hover around 14 days and you get a pretty juicy return on your investment. But it goes above and beyond just returning on Zil. By staking Zilliqa up until October of 2021, you'll also be earning GZIL alongside your standard Zil returns. So GZIL is going to be the governance token for Zilliqa, and all of that will be issued and minted and distributed to the community by the end of October 2021. And I think there's going to be about 750,000 𝗕𝗓𝗪 tokens as a maximum supply that will ever be minted. So that is a pretty interesting concept. And we did a video on this where we kind of speculated to say 𝗕𝗓𝗪 could have the potential to go up to something like $48,000. So it could be really interesting to see how well 𝗕𝗓𝗪 does. And just by staking your ZIL, not only will you be earning more ZIL for your ZIL that you've staked, but you'll also be earning that very lucrative 𝗕𝗓𝗪 as well. So this is a really interesting project from a staking perspective. Chris, have you managed to find out what the percentages are?
So it's around the 14% mark, according to their website.
Fantastic.
So I think it really depends who you go through, to be quite frank, Nick.
It will do. So you do your research, guys. Check out where you're going to find those best returns for your investment, right? And sometimes you might be more comfortable just keeping it on an exchange and staking it there, or sometimes you might want to actually keep it in a hardware wallet and find a provider, a validator that you'll want to stake it with. Now, obviously, in doing that, you want to make sure you do your research and make sure that the projects or the validators that you're staking to are going to be working in your favor, they're legitimate, and obviously they are working to keep that particular validator online. So make sure you do plenty of research both on the projects and of course on where to stake. But Chris, should we get into that third kind of project, Chris?
Yeah, let's do it.
I should say fourth project,
Fourth.
Chris.
Yeah, should we get into Harmony?
Harmony 1 absolutely has to be our fourth choice here. So Harmony 1 is something that has huge potential. And again, just like Zilliqa, does a lot in around sharding. So currently Harmony 1 is all about kind of scaling Ethereum applications and all about that cross-chain finance. And Harmony 1 is been kind of doing incredibly well recently. It wasn't that long, Chris, that this thing was below 1 cent, and it has moved up quite nicely now. And Harmony 1 seems to be getting on with more and more partnerships, more bridges between different blockchains such as Bitcoin, Ethereum, etc. And ultimately, staking Harmony 1 is something that you're going to want to do at some point in the future. Specifically, if you're one Harmony investor, you're going to want to have a return on that. And even us, Chris, we actually set up a whole validator specifically to support our community with investing in Harmony 1. And we're looking at pretty good returns. Our pool is generating about 11% APY, but we have seen high spikes as of getting it up towards that 19.5. So there are some pretty good returns that could be made with Harmony 1. And the locking up period for Harmony 1, Chris, is 5 days?
Yeah, it's 7 epochs, and I think each epoch's about 18 hours.
Yeah, so you will have to obviously lock it up for that short period of time, and then obviously after that you'll be able to move it wherever you need to. Now, again, do some research as to which validators have the best kind of signing rates online for the majority of the time. Make sure that they're all running the most up-to-date software and nodes and things like that. And obviously, check how frequently they are elected versus unelected and all that kind of good stuff. But ultimately, there's an opportunity here with Harmony 1, not just in investing in Harmony 1 itself, but also the fact that you can earn a pretty good return on your investment just by staking your Harmony 1 coins. But Chris, anything else you'd like to add on Harmony 1?
Just that, our pool ticker is 𝗕𝗓𝗪1. So, if you were are looking to delegate your one Harmony, then you can obviously do that using our pool if you wish to.
Fantastic. And as I said before, we're kind of getting around that 11% or so. So pretty good stuff there. But let's get into that last one, Chris, which again probably does not need any kind of introduction. And that has to be Cardano, right? And Cardano is making some pretty good moves and some kind of groundbreaking ones in the space. So it'll be hard to think that anyone has avoided knowing what Cardano is and what they're all about. But ultimately, they're making the world better, or making the world work better for all, right? And recently, they've been in the news all around the Cardano Africa okay, and in particular the deal with Ethiopia and everything that's going on with Tanzania as well. So there's some fantastic things happening in the world of Cardano, but of course, there's lots of investors will be investing into Cardano and the speculation around what it means for the blockchain technology going further forward in Africa, etc. But obviously, by holding ADA, which is their native asset, you might also be thinking, how can I earn a passive income? Well, you can go ahead and delegate your ADA into a stake pool, and by doing so, you'll earn a pretty good return. So on average, across most of the Cardano pools, it's around 5.5% APY that you'll be looking to achieve. Now, each pool will vary depending on the amount of ADA that gets delegated to them, the number of delegators, the number of or the self-pledge that's in there. So ultimately, there's lots of different factors that determine how much you'll have a return. So it's important that you do your research here. So some of the things to be watching out for is the saturation point when it comes to Cardano. You're going to want to make sure that you're in a pool that is not near that 64 million ADA saturation point. Anything above that, you're going to get diminished returns. So therefore, you'll get less for your ADA delegation. So you want to make sure that you're in a pool that's pretty comfortable. Somewhere around that kind of 30 to 40 million is probably going to be a good place for you. With that being said, you'll also want to try to avoid any pools which have a very large self-delegation. Self-delegations are basically paid out before regular delegators are paid out. So when it comes to Cardano, anyone with a 1 or 2 million self-pledge, they actually get a premium return on their delegated amount of ADA, above and beyond that of their commission rates as well. So what you tend to find is a bit of a marketing ploy here with Cardano, and you do see this with Harmony a little bit as well, where they say they're offering you a 0% commission, but they actually have a self-pledge of a few million. And basically, they're actually kind of doing you out a little bit, because that 2 million actually kind of takes away quite a healthy chunk of the rewards that are generated by that validator. So you want something that shows that the validator has skin in the game, but not too high that actually you'll get diminished returns. So it's important that you pay attention to the self-pledge as well. That, of course, coupled with the saturation point and the percentage commission that they charge, will be factors when making a decision on what Cardano stake pool to be actually delegating to. With all that said, Chris, anything else you'd like to add for Cardano?
Well, you can always delegate to our pool using the ticker 𝗕𝗘. You do this for all the standard wallets, ADA wallets, and we've got 919 delegators in our pool. We appreciate every single one of those. With over 12.2 million ADA delegated, which is remarkable. So yeah, check that out. We'd love to have you minting blocks with us.
That will be fantastic. So guys, those are the 5 top coins that we think have huge potential when it comes to staking in 2021. Let us know what your thoughts are down in the comments below. Would you added something different, or did you think that actually there was some project that we just have overlooked and actually should be in this list? Let us know in the comments down below. If you found this video useful and informative, do hit that like button. We both really do appreciate it. And of course, if you happen to be new to the channel and you'd like to stay up to date with everything we do here, from those new cryptocurrencies through to those hidden gems, then why not consider subscribing to the channel? By becoming a subscriber, you'll be kept up to date with everything we do here. It is free, you'll stay well informed, so why not? And with that said and done and out of the way, we hope you have a fantastic day, guys, and we'll catch you all in the next one.
Yeah, take care.